Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Reverend G. I am Reverend Grenetta Mason, aka Reverend G, and I'm here every Monday night live bringing you conversations with guests from all walks of life and with different perspectives. We talk about love, we talk about life, and we talk about spirituality. I'm happy that you can join me and that you can join me live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on the WEMS apps. On Monday nights, we talk about spirituality from a practical point of view. We talk about what's in your spiritual toolkit. We bring you current data, current news. We try to support you in living your best life because, that's my motto, to live your best life with grace and ease. And so each week, we want to leave you with something that can support you in doing that. You can find me every day actually, on Facebook as Reverend Grenetta Mason and on YouTube as Rev Grenetta with inspirational quotes to support you through the week and making this your best life. Today, I have a very special guest, Vanessa Kane, and Vanessa is an educator and a wedding officiant. And this month is February. And last week we talked about Valentine's Day, but we want to talk this week about loving yourself. And this being the month of love, Valentine's Day has passed. And we got through that however we did. It was great for some and maybe not so great for others. But we still want to talk about love from a perspective of loving yourself and loving yourself every day. So Vanessa is going to come in today and we're going to talk about dating at 50 plus. We're going to also talk about self-care and really loving yourself. Hey, Vanessa.
Hi. Hi, Rev G. How are you?
I am really good. I'm so happy you joined me tonight.
Thanks for
We're going
having
to get
me.
this hot topics, right? Hot topics. Vanessa, well, introduce yourself to everyone and give us a little bit about who you are.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Vanessa, and I am an educator and a wedding officiant, and I am a friend of Rev G. And I'm so happy to be here to talk a little bit about my perspective, what it's like to be a woman dating at 50 plus, and self care and loving myself, and, what's life like in this age and era. So, yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think, we're gonna jump in. So I was trying to think, as I'm thinking about it, do we gonna go from now and trail back, or want to talk about leading up to, or just mix it all in, right? It's like dating now, mix it
Okay.
all in. So give us a perspective on what's been going on for you, I guess, now in the dating arena.
Oh gosh. Well, I have to say it has been eye-opening. It's different from when I was 20, 30, 40, even 40.
Mm.
Especially with COVID making life just different for everybody. It's more of like, you got to work those thumb muscles, swiping left, swiping right, dating online. Who would have
Mm.
thought, 25 years ago, you could say, oh, I'm going to meet somebody online, that's crazy in
Mhm.
itself. Um,
Mm.
so it's just challenging. You have to be open to approaching it differently than
Mm.
oh, an introduction or at your job or at the club or at church. You have to be open to saying, hey, I'm going to meet this person and filter through what that looks like for you.
Mhm. That is, but what came up for me is the I would be challenged with the being online part and the swiping, right? And that whole, if you're not like into the technology as the younger generation is, and as I say, over 50. How does that work out? What do you find? Are you finding any challenges in being in that computer world and dating? What would be some of the challenges? I think I would be challenged somewhat.
For me, I would prefer to meet people the old fashioned way, face to face. Let's have a conversation on the telephone, or let's meet up and talk face to face. Now it's just like you see a picture and you have to decipher through that picture and through their little profile, which could be a paragraph or less, or some questions. Is this person somebody that I could potentially see myself on a date with? And that's kind of hard because it's just a snapshot in time. And and for me, I don't know about anybody else out there. It's hard to see a full person from their, chest up, or, taking a picture in a bathroom someplace, or a gym pose. I don't know who you are. So it's hard for me to discern, like, is this a person? And it's interesting. Sometimes, the other night I was on swiping. It was pure comedy hour. What are these folks thinking about when they said, I'm going to go online dating? Like, some people, I guess, maybe it's my judgment, but when you're online, you want to put your best foot forward. So you in the background, and you got, your messy room or whatever, or like, it's something that you would not necessarily perceive to be like your best foot. Then sometimes you gotta like pause and think, and maybe consult with a friend. Hey, is this a good picture I should put online? Or hey, is this profile, this sentence, does it capture me in a good way that somebody would say, oh, okay, I like this person. So that's just my experience.
It sounds like you need some help, right? When I say help, right, in the terms of like making sure you get the right picture, making sure you say the right things. But I can understand what you're saying, how it can be challenging, and at the same time, you added like it can be fun and comedy, at some point. Let's talk about what your dating experience was prior to, say, let's go back to your 20s, right? Have you been married, or what? Talk about what your life. I know you're single now, so give us a little history on your relationship life.
Sure, I am single, have always been single, long-term relationships, but never married. Um, in my 20s, ooh, gosh, I'm like trying to think back to my 20s. That's a little time ago. So in my 20s, I was college, had a boyfriend in college, a little bit after, then, a big devastating breakup. But, that's what heartache and heartbreak and those type of things are for. I think I'm a better person for it. I'm glad, look at it now. It's like, oh, I'm glad I'm not with that person, and more power to him. He's doing well. Happy for him. And then my late 20s, dated someone else, was in a long-term relationship. And hey, I see some people logging in. And it was great. I learned a lot from that relationship, but it was in-person connections. Like, oh, I like this person. Then we started thinking, oh, I was at a basketball game, met this person. We started a conversation. We started dating. So it was things like that. And then after that, single, just dating, meeting people, or introduction, set up by friends and stuff. Oh, I know a nice guy. I think you guys would hit it off, type of things. Never the online dating. And then when online dating came out, tried it, went out a few times. I don't know if they were successes or
But I was going to say, if it hasn't been successful?
Not in terms of like a long-term romance or relationship, but successful as in, oh, I have met a few people. We've gone out on a date here, a date there, but nothing that lasted. And
Do you now this marriage? Did you want to get married? Do you still want to get married? What's your thing on marriage?
Being that I am a wedding officiant, I love love. I love weddings.
I guess
Put somebody, your girl's available.
you're looking for that right one, right? Okay, right. I was just wondering if you know how sometimes at a point I'm trying to. I guess the question is, are you still looking for a marriage partner? To get married, right? And when you doing the online dating, how are you? Are you saying that right up, or how is that in the conversation?
I think if it leads to marriage, then I'm open to that. But right now, I'm looking for just a long-term, monogamous, committed relationship. And if we decide that marriage is the way we want to go, that's
Mhm.
fine.
Mhm.
I think when I was 20s, 30s, even 40s, I think, oh, marriage, we're going to start a family. I am
Mhm.
of age where if you come with some kids, that's great, but I'm not pushing no babies out this body. Let's
Right.
be clear. So
Mhm. Right.
it's not marriage in the way of procreation. We're going to have children together. So
Mhm.
sometimes the question, I think, for um, do we need to get married in that legal sense because we want a family,
Mhm. Mhm.
is not on the table. It's not on the plate. So it's
Mhm.
pressure in that regards.
Mhm.
If it's the right person and that's what we want to do, then yeah,
Mhm.
why
It's
not?
more the companionship and having that person. Um, I I also thought about what would you say are some of the challenges though that you're having with the dating now?
Oh, the dating now. COVID has taken away of meeting people naturally, organically, like out and about in the world because everybody's home
Mm.
or with a mask on, so you can't see or you know don't want to talk as much. But for
Mhm.
me, like online dating right now is like I said, it's like met a guy. We went on a couple of dates.
Mhm.
Nice, just our communication styles was different, so that ended. And then a few I had was, I guess, called the term catfish by, you know, thought the profile, everything looked nice. And then when you
Mhm.
get to a conversation, they sound like, they're in Africa with a straight up accent trying to say they're from Alabama and live in Atlanta.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
no,
Mm.
no, we're
Mhm.
not from here. And don't
Mhm.
try to make me think I'm crazy saying that your accent is Southern. No, it's
Mhm.
not Southern. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I don't understand why people do that. That's just,
Mhm.
taking advantage of people. And you're already in a vulnerable situation when you are putting yourself out there online to meet somebody. You trust that people are being authentic and upfront and forthright with who they are. And then when something like that happens, kind of makes you want to put up a wall and say,
Mhm.
no, forget this. But in this day and age, that may now be the one of the ways to meet people because connections are so far and few in between, especially with COVID and people being home. And just, I think the older one gets, it may be more challenging to go out. Like I'm not going to the clubs or
Mm.
I was when I was 20 and 30 and things like that. So it's
Mhm.
harder to um, meet guys. And then when, the meeting, um, when you meet this year, now it's like in my age range, most of the men that I meet when I am out at functions are married.
Mm.
Just like, that has taken out, if you're looking at percentage wise, the
Right. That's how.
lower
Yeah. Okay.
and lower. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you look at things like, okay, well, I have standards. I'm just
Mhm.
not dating anybody. People
Mhm.
say, oh, you should lower your standards. No, I'm not going to lower my standards.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So that's been something that's been real. Even like in my 40s, just like, people say, oh, you're too pick guy friends. You too picky. They
Mhm.
gotta be, well, first of all, you have preferences. And then
Mhm.
second of all, like if he's not matching where I'm at, then it's not gonna work,
Mhm.
you know.
It's interesting. I think when we were talking about just the communications and what women are looking for. And I think when I have Jarvis on, he was saying that there are a lot of men out there looking to be with women. And I keep wondering, well, what's keeping everybody from getting together, right? And then we talk about like standards and what you're looking for. I don't think anybody should lower their standards, but is there any room in that? You know what I mean?
I think some of my experience in talking to some male friends of mine in my age bracket, when guys are single in this 50, they want to date younger. They don't want a
Mm.
woman. And I'm not saying all. This is a generalization. If there are any
Mhm.
men out there, this is a generalization. They
Mhm.
want to date younger.
Mhm.
And so that,
That knocks a lot of them out.
and
Yeah.
being that I'm 50 plus, what I gotta date somebody that's 65 that's getting ready to collect Social Security? I don't think so. I'm a youthful 50 plus woman.
Or
So
maybe there's some youthful 65-year-olds, right? I try to, she's like, where I'm making that. I know where you, yeah. I understand.
you know, I don't. They have this new term, the zaddy. Like, oh, he's older with the, the salt and pepper hair, older man.
Right.
They're nice
Mhm.
to look at, but if zaddy got is sporting a coupe de ville and got his flat church shoes on with the pin, like, that's just not me. I'm not trying to
Mm.
date somebody that's like 65. That's older than my sister. My sister's 60 now. I ain't trying to date nobody older than her.
Right. You're not trying to go over 10 years. That's all right.
Exactly. And then you got, you throw the catfishing in there. um,
Mhm.
with online. You just never know. And my preference, I like black guys. I'm not trying to date white guys.
Right.
That
You
was
have a lot of,
that
yeah,
was right
that's
in my pool,
mhm.
but I just not a I'm just not attracted to, and I'm not
Mhm.
gonna force something at this point.
Right.
But I just look at most white guys and think they're Trump supporters. So that's hard for me too. It's like,
Right, you question that, right? And there's a lot of them that aren't, Vanessa, right? There's not a look. I don't think a Trump supporter looks a certain way,
I
right?
know, but that's what runs through my head. I'm just like, I
Mm.
don't know.
I think that though, I mean, one of the things is if we look at everything you said about them being married, the pool, how many they want younger guys, don't you think it makes it harder for you not going outside of just looking for black men?
You know what? If it were somebody that was introduced to me
Hmm.
that was outside of my race, then the probability would be higher for them. But if I'm just swiping, I can't, I don't have nobody to vouch for them as in their character or what they're really about. It's just I'm reading something on it. And that's been hard for me. Like I'm not.
Yeah, that is interesting because you just swiping with the black guys too. But what? There's more of a familiarity
Yes.
because they're black, and then there's this whole thing that you don't know about because they're white and you can't trust it. Is that
Hmm.
what it is? I guess I'm describing it right.
Yeah, like as opposed if I met a guy at work or, say you had a friend at work that was white or Hispanic or Asian or whatever. Oh, and he's a nice guy, and you knew that he had things that I liked in common, and you said, hey, there's somebody. I'd be like, cool, that's fine. Like I know somebody
Mhm.
that knows them type
Mhm.
of thing. So and
Mhm.
I can ask you the questions like, does he like this or does he like
Mhm.
that? Or, you know,
Do
now
you do you say would you say you travel in a predominantly black world?
no, I
Okay.
my
Okay.
my my friends are predominantly black. I mean, like
Okay.
people I would, yeah, predominantly. But I work
Okay.
with predominant. I'm like one of three black people at my organization.
Right. But are any of those people accept at your job though? You know what I mean?
Well, I've been there 20 years basically, if not longer. And I've never been set up on a date or someone says, oh, I know. And plenty of times, hey, you got any friends? Nope. So that's that. And that's fine.
Mhm.
It's part of
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
I still love love. It's
Mhm.
out there for me.
Mhm. I like that. Then having that attitude of it's still out there, and I know it can get tiresome, or you have the ups and downs of it. But I think it's really about the attitude, and it's still out there, right? I always just felt like I was always going to get a man, no matter what, right? That was always my attitude about it, right? If
Uh-huh.
there's a few of them out there, I was going to get one of them, kind of thing. And the attitude of just still being willing to put yourself out there, and, shifting into like taking care of yourself, self care, What are some of the things you do given this whole in relationship to dating and taking care of yourself? So what are some of the things that you do to support your health?
Oh, I try to get sleep. Sleep,
That's a good one. I love that because
sleep
I
is
laugh because I like to sleep too, right?
sleep
Try to get sleep, right?
sleep is key,
Mhm,
keeping up with yearly annual doctor's appointments. I think many times people tend to let them go by the wayside. I do
mhm,
not. I think it's very important to be proactive in my
mhm,
health care because no one knows myself like myself.
mhm, mhm,
Doctors be like, "Oh, you're fine." The numbers on the chart be like, "I feel like something's going on." So
mhm,
yeah, I can take care of myself. But things that I like to do, I like to eat out with friends, and and have a good time, good conversation.
mhm,
Read, listen to music. I was listening to some music before we got on here tonight,
mhm,
and just listen to music and do things that I enjoy doing. Like, and one thing I've learned in self-care that I've been practicing a lot more or is saying no,
mhm, mhm,
or saying I'll pass or I can't. And sometimes it might not be because I don't want to be with the I rather just be home, or I rather do my own thing, or no, that's just not for me. And I'm not going to be persuaded to do something I don't want to do. I don't feel like I have to say yes to everything anymore.
mhm,
Or just because it's expected of me that I'm always going to do that. And a lot of times it's like setting good boundaries. That's
mhm,
key.
mhm,
To set
mhm.
those boundaries and stick with it, even if people don't understand. They don't have to understand.
Mhm,
you
mhm,
know,
mhm,
if you don't get okay, that's on you. I'm clear. This is a boundary for me.
mhm. So you as you are getting older, you are taking care of yourself in different ways, right? It was interesting. What came to mind for me was thinking about how what supported you in getting to these points of no and setting boundaries.
You you know what? I some of the I have to give credit to um having a great mom for me,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing her life unfold in front of me, and having recently having to shift my relationship with her as being just her daughter, but also a caregiver with her.
Mm,
But
oh,
as from 40 to 50 plus, I think some of the people, or first I'll talk about the people. Some of the people have helped me shift my focuses. I have a solid set of girlfriends,
mm-hmm.
and are not only are they beautiful, smart, intelligent, caring, loving, down for me. I have such a good set of girlfriends that when we have conversations, it's a give and take. It's no judgment involved. We talk, we're there for each other. And they're just like, recently one of my girls like, you busy. Like, you don't have to. Just do you. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to
Mm-hmm.
answer somebody else. And like that gives me like, yeah, I was thinking that, it's like that support. And then
Mm-hmm.
some of it is just like when I turned 50, it was just like a light bulb went off. Like, okay. And then when I turned the plus, I'm 53, it
Mhm.
was like a real shift. I felt like literally like I felt different, like my spirit, my atoms, all of that shifted.
Mhm.
And it's just like, my faith is just like, hey, God has a plan for me. What's for me will be for me. Who's for me will be there for me. Who's down, who's not,
Mhm.
be over there. And I'm fine with it. It's like, even though there are people who have been friends or family members, you know, along the way. And then it's just like they're not down for me. So it's like I can love them from a distance. You don't have to
Mhm.
be up close. You don't have to be in my circle anymore. I don't
Mhm.
need your approval, and you don't need mine, because you're not losing no sleep over there from the conflict or the negative energy between us. So I'm gonna love you from with a long spoon, a long hand. And that's
Mhm.
cool with me. And they don't have to
Mhm.
understand that, but I'm doing what's good for me. Because at the end of the day, if I'm all stressed out, they ain't caring. They're not
Right.
taking care of me.
Exactly. It's interesting you say 50 because I remember when I turned 50, it was like I get to do whatever I want to, whenever I want to. And it was something that I understood exactly what you said about the light bulb going off, right? And the different ways that you want to live your life, right? And I guess as you're thinking, well, I'm at 50, I'm halfway, and not even you're not even sure if you're halfway, right? But I also think that what comes to mind too is living every single day, being in the moment, living your life moment by moment, right? And because as I get older, and then a lot of people around me are dying, but people die at all ages. But as you get older, it's more likely, right, that time is coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, I think about not waiting for anything, but being in it all 100% right now. I love the water and I love the beach and all of that. And one thing I didn't get to do, which I won't do now, I don't think I will, is ride on the back of the boat, right? On water skis, right? I won't do that, right? But I still can have a memory of how that would be a great thing to do. I don't even know how I got there to that, but I think I was I started thinking about the different things I want to do, right? I guess I was thinking about age, right? As we age, right? How we shift in the different things that we want to do. I was adventurous when I was younger, but I'm not as adventurous now, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I still am doing things that I love. And it's about living now and making yourself the joy. What I'm always talking about and laughing and joking about is bringing joy. And I don't want to diminish that we have our moments of sadness. We have our moments when everything isn't great. When things happen that we don't expect. But then how do we get back to the joy and to the peace, right? And that's when I talk about the spiritual practices, right? And what are the spiritual practices that can support us? And I was thinking too about spiritual practices um, for dating, right? Are there, right? What will you do, right? Spiritual practices for any part of your life. Because I think about when we talk about self care, we can break it down into the many different categories like physical, emotional, spiritual, right? All of those come into play. And I think we could think about how we take care of ourselves, even in terms of dating on a physical level. As you said, taking care of your body is really important. Emotionally, who are we? How do we respond emotionally? So I think all of those things do come into play. When we talk about spirituality, let's shift to talking about your spiritual journey. Tell us of your spiritual journey. Vanessa, did you grow up in church or?
Yeah, I did. I didn't mean to sound so negative.
I
Yeah,
know, right? I'm like, yeah, well, I grew up in the church,
yeah,
right?
I did. I did. Church, Sunday school, children's choir, usher board. All of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, didn't have a choice till about going until I guess I was in college. Then it was just like, I think you should go to church, but you're college, you're grown. But I still went to church regularly up until about, oh gosh, 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now I consider myself a spiritual person, but not necessarily a religious person. Not to say that I won't ever start going back to church, but
Mm-hmm.
um it just it wasn't it was I feel, this is just me, and when you go to church, it's supposed to feed your soul and make
Mm-hmm.
you feel positive, make you say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I can face the week ahead of me or the next day. But
Mm-hmm.
I was going and I was leaving church feeling sadder and sadder. I'm like, why am I continuing to go to this place that's making me sad?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just stopped going. And then I've always found God in like nature and just calm, quiet space. So after I stopped going, that's where I was finding God. And I was meeting people that to me represented God and the goodness and the wholesomeness of the creator in people that had never attended church. So it was like for me, like, well, this person here is more kind and giving and embodies like the 10 commandments more than this person that is in church 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like an imbalance for me. And not to say that I don't know good people. I go to church and I know those people, but for me it was just I find I can find God in the ordinary,
Mm-hmm.
in the everyday. I don't need
Mm-hmm.
necessarily a building, a structure, institution to connect me to God. And that's just where I am right now.
Because I was thinking about that because we were talking about there's so many churches, right? And what struck me about that is there's so many is why not one speaks to us. I mean, I'm saying me too because I don't really go. I did find one church that I really liked that spoke to me, but there's so many at a point we just turn away from that, at a moment like now you're saying not to say that you won't go back, but you turn away from that because it was a disappointment, or like you said, you will walk out and you weren't being fed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you stop going to church, but you found other ways to feed your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what are some of the practices that support you in feeding your spirit, sis? Church. I like to go for the music and the singing because I love gospel music, right? The music and the singing, and then a good message, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the good message was always hard. I always went for the choirs. Every church I went to, I wanted to sing in their choir, and I would sing in their choir, but I wouldn't necessarily be with the sermon and being fed. I did. Now, the Unity Church was the last choir I sang in, Voices of Unity. The message there, I did walk out feeling positive and feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
So, as going to the Unity Church was one part, and singing in the choir, and then I also like the Baptist minister at First Corinthian has a really great message in terms of how he talks about the Bible and relates it to how we live our lives. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it really takes something to find that place, right? After I grew up in the church. I say I still belong to the same church I grew up in because I never found another one, right? That really that I wanted to like join or be a member. So
And
for me, it's
if yeah, for me, like some of I guess my questioning, and this was just me from a little kid. I always question like, well, why church, or like why? And then I know like some people may listen and be like, oh gosh, Lord,
What just went to your mind? Something you were gonna say, and then you're like, "Oh Lord, let me take
no,
it
I,
back."
I'm just like, we have the Bible or in these holy books, but
Mhm,
like, people like, oh, it's but who's not to say that, this is just me being, playing the negative advocate. Who
mhm,
wasn't to say there was a bunch of like old men sitting in a back room somewhere with a light and some ink, making this stuff up to keep people in line. That's a part of like what religion has done to people, to keep people in line, to keep
mhm,
people oppressed and keep people fearful. I
mhm,
don't, the God I believe in is not that type of person. So I'm just like, I don't always get with this and why. And so I'm just spiritual. And I mean, I do pray. I
mhm.
do like
Do you?
med.
But so I like I hear what you're saying. Like who wrote the Bible and all that. There are a lot of stories on men who did get together and write the Bible and make up this and do this whole Bible thing, right?
Mhm.
I find that the Bible is a great wisdom text. That's how I see it, right? There's some great stories in there that will lead you and show you. I feel like you said also it's a bunch of rules in there to keep chaos down. I always say it, right? Because if we didn't have the rules of the Bible, right, how would people live and how would they function?
Mhm. And my thing is, okay, you have Adam and Eve, and they dated or whatever you want to say, since this is a show about love and dating. Like, you mean to tell me they ain't been no women that can contribute to some more stories? Like half the women, most of the women in the Bible, you don't even know their names. It's
That's kind
simple. Like there ain't no women around. These men that was writing their stories, what all the women was in a hut making some flatbread. Come on now. So, but but back to like tying it in with the dating thing. Like when I do date somebody,
of.
I do have questions about like, are you spiritual? Were you brought up in a church? What
Mhm,
do you practice now?
mhm,
I'm not close to if a person was Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, whatever. Long as to me is like, long as they believe in a higher power and they are spiritual in some sense, that works for me. But
mhm,
like when I'm sitting down, if we're going out to dinner, I'm paying attention. Are they saying grace? Are they giving thanks for the food that's in front of them? Are
mhm,
they taking pause? If I say, hey, can we pray together? What's their reaction? Or hey,
mhm,
let's listen to some gospel music or sometimes I just throw stuff out just to see what happens.
mhm.
And it's interesting. Some people like cool and some people like nah, like I ain't trying. I'm just trying to watch NFL football. That's my church.
It's interesting too because I get what you're saying because um the Bible, right? I remember when I don't really know the Bible, so I don't quote the Bible, but I went to church, we read the Bible, I know parts of the Bible. I am not a Christian minister where I can like quote the Bible to you and tell you where to go in the Bible if you're having something going on. But I love the stories in the Bible. I've heard them all my life and I can relate to them. And the Psalms in the Bible is really beautiful.
Mhm.
I don't and people say, how can you be a reverend if you don't know your Bible? And a lot of people really Christians in particular feel that the Bible is the word. And if you don't know your Bible, how Christian are you? There's a lot of judgment around knowing your Bible and being able to quote your scriptures and all of that. So I find it interesting your perspective on the Bible when you say the men just sat around and wrote it and where were the women and Adam and Eve and all that. It's a whole different perspective on the Bible.
But it's a good foundation. I mean, I am thankful and grateful that my mother gave me that foundation because it
Mhm,
has served me and it still does serve me to this
mhm,
day.
mhm,
So I can't say that, oh, I'm opposed. I do think that there's a place and there's the spirituality has a place in my life. And I think For most people that I know, it's there somewhere, some more than others. And I think for each person, that's their own personal journey, and they have to live their life how they see fit. I have no judgment. If there's people that be like, I ain't never saying grace, or that doesn't work for me. If they're okay, no, that's you. But for me and my house, we shall serve God. Now, who that looks like for different people looks different.
Yeah, that is interesting too, about our own practices and how everything we've learned and the foundation that we've gotten. I agree with you. I am grateful for the foundation. And I'm grateful that I get to even question it or get to talk about the Bible in a way to say, like, and that's what I've always wanted to do, to be able to say, but wait a minute, does this part really make sense? And then not have to believe it's all just straightforward truth, right? In the way it is. And then to be able to say, oh wow, well that doesn't quite, like you said, Adam and Eve, really, where were the other women around in the Bible, right? But what I thought was interesting, that you said we don't know their names. No, we don't, because we don't know our Bible, but people who read the Bible know about people like Ruth and
Yeah, I'm saying there are some Ruth, Isabel, Delilah, Sarah. They're there. What I'm saying about, but that's a handful. Come on, like,
right.
that's just a handful.
Yeah, but yeah, it just came to my
Miriam,
mind though.
yes.
When you were just saying, you was talking about dating and women and dating, and what in the role that women played in the Bible, it's very different though, right? In the way I was taught, in the way I read it, as you said, right? Because women weren't in the forefront pretty much at all. It was all about the men and what they were doing. So yeah, what I think people do Women of the Bible. I've seen something like that, right? But that's like a Christian study that they do, right? Where they talk about the women in the Bible, and I've not done that. But that would be really interesting, I guess, to look at it not from the I'm thinking of a different perspective, like how women are portrayed in the Bible. That's what I'm thinking of.
Well, if I were behaving like a woman in the Bible, I guess I might never, ever, never get married, because they not gonna come knocking on my door and find me up in my house. I got to be proactive.
Right, and then you don't think they weren't out there. It was all about the men,
I
right?
don't know. They those might be the women that they call the Jezebels, and who's to say? I don't. But I gotta be proactive and trying to push along my dating life.
Right. It's interesting. I'm laughing because as I hear your perspective, right, it was like you were taught the same thing from the way we were taught. The Jezebel, when you say Jezebel, to me, that reminds me of just a really negative kind of way of looking at a woman being a woman and expressing who she is. You would have to be a Jezebel, right?
Yeah, but dating's hard. It's not just hard for the 50 somethings. I know women in their 40s and their 30s. And actually, I got a text from a friend whose daughter's in her 20s. And the sentiment is the same. It's hard. It's hard to meet nice, decent guys that are on the same page. So it's not just the 50 somethings. It's it's all these decades. It's all the women across the board are, feeling something similar. My niece is in her 30s, smart, bright, got it going on, a great catch. She can't find anybody. I have friends in their 40s, friends in their 30s. So, and then my circle of girlfriends in the 50 range, we have these conversations just like, well, where are guys? And I know they're out there. I have friends. Hey, do you have? Nah, he's not good enough for you. But he's a player from the Himalayas. Somebody said catfishing out there, people sick. Yeah, and you know, some of the comments. So it's
I wonder what we could do about that, though. Because on the one hand, I hear, oh, there are men out there waiting for you, beautiful women. And then on the other hand, you got all these women. I know too, a lot of single women. So where are these men that are out there, right? And when you look at the numbers, I don't know the numbers, right? But I know we always talk about and when you say you want a black man only, your numbers are really low, right? No,
I don't know, but
the reality of it, though, I'm just
yeah,
saying the reality of it,
I don't know.
right?
Maybe the rule. I don't know. This dating has changed. I went to a party, a fraternity fundraiser around Thanksgiving time. So there was a nice. I was like, "Ooh, a room full of like men. Wow, it was an abundance." But they stood around and talked to each other all night. And there's a room full of nice looking ladies. I had to ask a guy to dance. I
Mm,
just could, I don't understand that. There's a room
mm,
full of ladies playing. I'm not saying take me home and
mm-hmm.
somebody says some men don't want to be accountable. That's probably true.
That's
I'm not
right.
saying you gotta take me home and marry me tomorrow and I'm sizing you up for your wedding tux, but just
Mm-hmm.
dance. Ask me to dance. That's all. You know
Mm-hmm.
what? You don't even have to buy me a drink because I can afford and I can pay for my own drink.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice if you bought me a drink too, but like
Mm-hmm.
you can't ask somebody to dance. Come on, I just don't get that. Men want
Mm-hmm.
to stand around a profile all night.
Mm-hmm.
I look cute to just be standing here. I could be cute at home in my pajamas, but I'm out. I want to dance. I want to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my girlfriends are lonely, but I don't want to dance with them.
Right? That the girl pack in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, that no.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that is interesting. When we think about uh dating and getting together and partnering and somebody, whatever, it's like, do men feel they have more of an advantage because it's more women than men available? I mean, I can remember at one point when they were saying, like, in the black community, there was like 8 women to 1 man, and numbers like that were being thrown out there, not necessarily knowing whether that's true. But I do know a lot of single women who
Somebody
are.
put in the chat, some men don't want to be held accountable
Mhm,
when they leave. So I guess they just want to, I don't know,
mhm,
get it and get it, not, have to commit.
right.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's dangerous. You could die.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Right.
Um. Yeah. It is, and just thinking about, how to be supportive, what kind of things can support people in making those matches. I think I just what came to mind is it about you individually taking care of yourself, you individually creating I always talk about an energetic flow. I pause for a moment, right? But about attraction, because I always go into like the law of attraction, right? And where does that play into this whole dating scheme, right? The law of attraction, right? And I really believe in the law of attraction. I really believe that the energy that you put out there is what you're going to get back,
Well,
right?
I don't know about this law of attraction, G.
Okay, so tell me how you feel about the law of attraction.
I get the idea of it, but I am not putting out I want to date somebody that's sitting off in a room in Africa catfishing me. Like I'm not putting that out. Oh,
But I know, but you said you're clearly not putting that energy out.
I'm not putting that
But then
energy
why
out
would
under
you say then? Well, what would cause that to be sold then? Why would you
I
attract that?
don't I don't know. I don't know because my hair is natural. I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I
Somebody
mean, let's
answer
look at
that.
it. Well, think about the law of attraction like this then. So when we say uh you want to be loved, you have to love. You want somebody to love you, you love yourself first.
I think I'm a great catch, and I love me some me.
Okay,
So,
then what's the
and I
next?
have a lot of love. I have a lot of love to give. I think if one were to ask someone that knew me well,
Hmm.
some of the things they would say about me, that I am caring, I am loyal, I am reliable, that I have a big heart, although it may seem like I'm a tough cookie on the outside, I'm really a softie and
Hmm.
sensitive. Um, so I feel I have a lot to give. And I'm smart, I'm educated, have my own place, my own car, got a little bit of money.
Right, right. You're a
Those
catch,
things are
right?
important too.
Yeah,
Those things
yeah,
are important too. So,
right.
I just don't know. I just think that times are changing. I think I think people are so quick to men and women,
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to put in the time to develop and foster solid relationship. Everybody we live in a microwave
Mm.
society. We want it
Mm.
2 sec and then it's done. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
relationships that are long lasting. Like it's like a good piece of meat. You want to, season it, marinate it over 24 hours. You might even need to massage it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You want the pan to be the right temperature. You can't just put it in there and burn. No, or
Mm-hmm.
you grilling, the coals got to be hot. You got to set
Mm-hmm.
it on the side. You got to watch it, but you don't want to turn it because you don't want to mess it up. If you turn it too soon and it messes it up. It takes time. A good
Yeah.
piece of meat, you want to,
It's a lot too. It takes time.
yeah, right.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of communication. A lot of communication. So it's interesting. Everything is so quick, like you're saying. How do you people are just jumping in and jumping out and not really even giving it a chance to develop in any way in
Mhm.
the relationship. So I don't know, as you said, in these times, what's the different energy around all of that, what's really going on, and also
The
the
grass look
flip.
green on the other side. A lot of people are, oh, the grass, but the grass on the other side is turf. That's why it's always green.
It's all turf, right?
And
It's fake, you don't even know.
water it, take care of it, fertilize the grass, it'll grow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you put the right seeds down,
Mm-hmm.
come on.
Right. And I was going to say, we're talking about even being 50 plus, right? Is like another whole thing, because in your 20s, you may not even necessarily be looking for the same thing. You might be just out there, not ready to settle down, doing. In your 30s is another whole story about what you're looking for in a relationship, right? And so, as you said, each 20s, 30s, and 40s, there are the different challenges in dating, but we're looking for different things maybe at those different ages in a relationship. And
Mhm.
as I think about the 50 plus category, as you said, it's even slimmer. But what about dating younger? What do you think of that?
Me dating somebody younger, or
Yeah,
just
yeah, well, for you.
how old is how young is too young?
You said how old is young, right? I mean, I say it because women don't necessarily think of dating younger, but now some women do. Like,
I have. I mean, I'm not that much younger, but I have an age range that I
mhm,
would work
go
within.
for it. Right? Okay, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay, so you're not just stuck with they have to be at least 3 or 4 years older than you.
Mm-mm.
Okay, okay. Yeah, well, that opens it up some. I was thinking about, because as I think about the 50 plus, as you said, the men will go for younger women, but will the women go for younger men?
I definitely think that women now it's no long, it shouldn't be, and I don't think it really is too much anymore, like a stigma of dating younger men. And I don't, I think you go for whatever you're comfortable with.
Mm.
What my age range might be different from one of my other girlfriends or whatever. But
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
would think,
Mhm.
you know, you you need to have a range what you're comfortable with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What would you say, Vanessa, would be your top three spiritual practices, and how have they supported you with this whole dating thing?
Whew. Just have faith that
Faith.
in God's time, my man will show up. Might be at Shady Oaks retirement home, but
But he'll show up.
he'll show up. He might have, put his teeth in the cup that at night, but he gonna show up. We gonna eat soul foods together. But
You have your companion.
yeah, just so having faith,
Mhm.
keeping a positive mindset about it,
Mhm.
um, never letting the situation get the best of my self-esteem, because I know I'm a good person. I'm a great catch. So it's the loss of whomever it is that say, oh, I'm just gonna swipe past her or whatever.
Mhm.
I just try to stay positive. Don't get me wrong. There are days when I'm just like, forget this, F this online dating thing. I'm done. I'm gonna
Mhm.
delete my account. But
Mhm.
then I'm just like, this is the only way about now that you're going to meet somebody. People know you're single. They're not introducing you to their friends or uncles or cousins or frat brothers or whatever. So
Mhm.
if you want to meet somebody, you got to stay in the game.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, it's interesting. No swap parties. I call them swap parties. No uncles, cousins, introductions like that. Your friend, that the friend with a friend. Yeah, it is kind of interesting.
just got to stay in the game.
Yep, have faith, stay in it, and you'll have your ups and downs, but keep getting up and trying again and going for it.
Yep. And like I said, I love love, and that's why I'm a wedding officiant. And so if I'm not in love, at least I can officiate two people who are in love and want to build a foundation together through marriage. So, I that's one way I can be of service.
Hmm. Very good. Well, I'm glad you came tonight to share with us.
Thank you for
Um,
having me. This was
um,
fun.
yeah, yeah, it was really, really good, and hopefully, I always think of what can we do. I'm always like, what can we do, right? I'm trying to think of trying to get people to invite Vanessa to your brother. I mean, introduce her to your brother, introduce her to your cousins, right? What ways, right, to really get people together. But right now it's the online thing, and good luck with that. And I hope everybody
Love is
can.
out there for me. It's coming. It's
Yeah,
there. It's probably there, right around the corner, probably, or somebody
yeah,
sending me a
I-
love email or
yeah,
something like that. And sometimes it's timing.
yeah.
Sometimes people can know the person, but they're in relationship or not, or you busy in relationship, or they're busy taking care of, a elderly parent, or
Hmm.
you kind of know them, but you don't, or you're not sure. So sometimes you know the person, but God hasn't said it's time for you guys to be together.
That's
Sometimes
good
timing plays a part as well.
time.
You know.
All right, ma'am. Well, keep at it. Keep loving yourself and
Thank
taking
you.
care of yourself. And I really enjoyed our conversation. And I will see you Thursday.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Bye,
Take
G.
care. Bye. Thank you for joining me tonight on Conversations with Reverend G. I'm here every Monday night at 8 p.m. on WEMS Radio Live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on the WEMS app. And as I said, I'm here to support you in living your best life and finding joy. One of the things I want to leave you with today is about loving yourself. Love yourself, and you will attract love and give love, and love is what it's all about. So happy February, the month of love, and I will see you next week right here, 8 p.m. live.